All right, now let's add the game setup functions so that you can play the game with time. You can now play versus computer. We need to create the AI, how it plays the game and all of that. Okay, so before that, let's add the function for the user to select the game type now, if they're playing multiplayer or if they're playing the single player. Okay, and then also select the computer difficulty and all that. All right, so what we want to create is actually this. Let's just wait for this to open. So here in this one, if you click on start, you can see that we have a bottom sheet. So this is what we want to create. So let's go on to our global method here. So let's go back to our okay, anyway, let's leave this here. Okay, now here after this method, let's create another one for the bottom sheet. So down here, let's create a game setup bottom sheet. Okay, now here what we want to create is a void method, void show game setup bottom sheet. Okay, looks like our AI is already predicting this, so I'm just gonna click tab and then correct it. Okay, so what we need here, it's as put that we need the build context, but now let's require all of these things. Okay, let's put it inside the brackets like that, and then let's say required. So we're going to need that, and then what else? Let's also require a boolean to check if user is signed in. Okay, so is signed in like that, and then let's also require a function. Okay, so this is going to be a function on game start. Now we want to return a boolean here. Okay, so we want to return a bool, and then let's change this to on action tab like that. Okay, now that we have these, we can go ahead and create our bottom sheet. So let's go through this. So first, yeah, that is correct. We want a context, and then let's add more things. Okay, so with this bottom sheet, we want to put it as scrollable. Is scrollable, we want to set to true, and then here, instead of this container, we want to, what we want to return here is the consumer, because we want to read inside the provider so that we can make all these changes. Okay, so we want to wrap this container with a widget called the consumer widget, and then here we want to read inside the game provider. Then of course we are going to have a builder, which is that. Then let's change that to game provider for easy reference. And then now here we can return whatever we want. So now all of this container, we can cut it out of here and then just return it here. All right, now we can delete this child. Okay, so we close that, and then what is the error? We have to close that like that. Okay, so let's start fixing these. So right now, maybe if we want to look at this, what we can do is let's go back to our application, and then if we go to this start button, which is a separate widget, start stop, you can see that here we are directly generating this, but not anymore. We are not going to be doing that, so we can delete all of this. All we have to go now is show game setup bottom sheet. So this one we're going to initialize it to false for now. We will do with this later. Then on action tab, this returns a value. And then now here we are just gonna do that. So let's close it, and then first of all let's remove what's inside here. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is just to check if value, we are going to start the game, else stop the game. But for now we know that we haven't created these methods, so let's comment them. All right, now if we want to look at this, we simply just need to run the application again. Now that the application is running, if we click start, we can see that we have our bottom sheet here. Okay, so this bottom sheet is what the assistant has created. Where is that? In the global here. Okay, sweet. So now let's create our own. So here we have a container which has got the padding, but here we want the padding to be 8, and then yeah, we want it to be minimum, and then the title here we want to say game setup, which is correct. Now what we want to do is to copy this and then go in the constants. We know that we want to keep everything as a constant. Game setup. So no, we just want the constant of the game setup like that. And then if we come to the global, so what can we close here that we don't, this one we don't need for now, and then this one. So here in the global, here we just want to call our constant dot game setup. Now we just need to import this. Great. And then now we can give this a style. So text theme here, instead of that, this is deprecated, we can just say title large. Okay, great. Now we have the size box. After this size box, maybe let's change this to 10 because we want to keep our design to 10. And then after that, here we have a divider. Okay, so instead of this text field, let's have our divider. So this divider, we are going to have the thickness of 1.0. So this is also going to be constant like that, and then we have a text field. So for now, let's hot reload, and then let's give it a try. You can see that we have that divider. Now we just need to move on to the next things down here. So what is coming next here is if we go to this application, you can see that the next thing is this radio buttons. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that. So these radio buttons, we need to create separate class because we are going to make one and then also reuse it as usual. As a good practice, we just need to make reusable widgets so that we can avoid using the repeated code. Okay, so now let's create those radio buttons. What we're gonna do is let's come here in the provider, in the widgets here, right click, new file. So this one I'm gonna name it as a opponent radio button dot. Okay, and then next, now let's create that. So this is going to be a stateless widget. It's going to be opponent. Let's correct that. I'm gonna go back and then just say opponent radio button. So I need to pass some required arguments here. So first, we're going to need the required Okay, let me remove that. This dot, first of all, we're going to need the title. Okay, we're going to need the title, the value, and then the unchanged. And then we need another thing. We need the group value. Okay, so required this dot group value, right? Like that. And then once we have that, let's just put a comma there. Then come down here. Our assistant is going to initialize those. So the value and the group value we're going to get from the game mode, okay, because this is a radio button. Okay, so here we're going to get from our enum game mode. Okay, we're going to get the value, and then also the group value we're going to get from the game mode. And then now the function is unchanged. We need to return something which is going to be again the game mode. Okay, so first of all, this group value is going to be nullable because we're going to be switching between the two. And then also this function is going to return the nullable game mode. Okay, game mode, which is also going to be nullable here, like that. It's going to be, once we change, we're going to set it to another one. We change, we set it to another one. Okay, now here let's now return that radio button. Okay, that I mean not the radio button. Here we're going to use the radio list tile. Okay, we want to use all of this. Okay, so great. Now here first let's return a radio. I want to do a radio list tile like that. Okay, so here this radio list tile will have the game mode as a type. Okay, now the value, you know that we are getting that value, the group value, are getting the group value, and then the unchanged. All of these things are straightforward. So all we have to do now is we didn't put the title. We know that the radio lister has got the property of title, which is going to come from our title above. So maybe let's also add some style here. Style, which comes from text style. So here we should have a font weight. Where is that? Font weight. This one, let's keep it bold. Font weight dot bold. And then we can have a constant keyword here. So what else can we change here? We have to change the shape. But first of all, let's have a look of how this is looking. What we can do is we need to go in the global here. Then after this divider, below, on top of this text field, let's just call it here. Okay, opponents radio button. So this title, this one, the first one, we're going to call it as we're going to get it from okay, let's just say single player, and then the value, we're going to get it from the game mode dot single player. So let's bring this down, and then also this down. Then the group value, again, we are going to get it from the game mode dot single player. So, and then the unchanged here, we are just going to do it like that. So here we know that it's going to return the game mode. Okay, so here we have to have a value like that, and then it's going to be that value that is going to be returned. So now here, whenever we change here, we need to set the value inside the game provider, which is coming from there. So we have to say game provider dot so here we haven't created that method, so we say set value in game provider. Okay, that's what we're gonna do, and then we just need to put the comma here. Now if we hot reload, now when we click here, you can see that we have that radio button there. Okay, now we want to have this one and the next one here. Okay, because here we have clicked this one. All right, this is the one that we have clicked. So also now here, the group value, we need to get it. We don't need to hard code it here. We need to get the group value from the game provider. So here we're going to say game provider dot game mode. Okay, because that's what we are going to get, because once we change here, this if it's not here, it's going to be to the next one. So what we're going to do is we have to copy this, and then before we even copy this one, we need to wrap it inside a row. Okay, and then we copy this and paste it here. Okay, now we need to put constant of sized box in the middle with a width of about 10.0. Okay, now here, this one we are going to say multi. Okay, and then this is going to come from game mode.multiplayer, and then this is obviously going to be the same. Now if we hot reload, we can come out, and then when we place, okay, we have an error because it's infinite width. We have to put some width with this. Okay, so let's close that, and then this is correct, but inside here we need to give them the width. Okay, so if we go to the where are we creating this opponent's radio button, we need to give these width. Okay, so first what we're gonna do is to wrap this in the expanded widget. Okay, expanded. Okay, once we wrap this in the expanded widget, let's see what else we can change. First let's give it a try. So let's hot reload, and then if we call it, you can see that now we have these two. Okay, now let's change how these two look. So first of all, after unchanged here, we can add the more functions that it has. So first of all, let's go maybe up here, let's say dense to true. Okay, then let's hot reload. You can see now that it's become smaller. Okay, you can see that. And then now the next thing to do is just let's give it a shape. Okay, after dense we can say shape. Now we want the rectangular shape with that border that the AI has decided for us. That is fine. Let's also hot reload. If we run it, we can see that we can't see any change now because we need to put some colors. Okay, so also this space is too big. Let's remove some padding. So right below this we can say content padding. Content padding, we don't want any padding inside, so we can say just say 0. Edge insets dot 0, which is not constant. So let's remove that, and then let's hot reload. You can see that we have removed the padding. And then the next thing is let's have a teal color. Now if we have a color, we will be able to see where it's going up to. Okay, so right after this, let's have a tile color. So if we want, we can have this deep purple like this, what the AI is suggesting. So let's hot reload and see how that looks. So you can see that it's a bit dim. Okay, so maybe let's go with a color that we can see it. Let's go with the gray with a shade of let's try this 200. Let's hot reload. Then if we click that, Okay, 200 is too much. Let's move it to 300. Now if you hot load, now you can see this. Okay, now if we click this, nothing is happening because we don't have a method to change. Okay, great. So let's create that method really quickly and then we can end this video. So right now this widget is done. We can go ahead and close that. The only remaining thing is just to put the method to set the value. Okay, now all we have to do is go inside the game provider and then now create in the setters here. So we can say, we can just let Copilot be doing all of this. So set is playing, but I don't really like setting it like this. What I like to do is just to call a void method like that. Okay, void dot now what I'm gonna do is set is playing like this. That's how I like to call the setters. You can call it either like that or like this, but I prefer like this. Okay, so let's get another setter. Say set is game over. Let's also set set play time, which is going to be like that, and then set my current word index like that, and then we can set computer's word index. Okay, so right now if we continue, it's just going to be setting everything depending on this, but maybe let's keep some more because we are going to create the setters as we move on. Right now what we want to set is the game mode. Okay, so here let's just give it the comment. Okay, set game mode. Okay, we're just gonna do that. Now this is what we want to call now when we click on the global, and then here we just want to call set game mode. Here the assistant is going to call it. Okay, if it's not going to call it, we're just gonna call it set game mode to value. Now let's copy this and then let's put it here. All right, now if we hot reload, once it has been hot reload, if we click here, now if we click here, you can see that it's changing. Okay, great. So that's it about this video. We have created the radio lister. In the next one, we are just going to go on to continue making this game setup until we get to this level. Okay, so thank you guys, and see you in the next video.